You said that you were born in a mobile home. You're now running for Senate. You serve as mayor.
Yeah.
Sounds like a bit of the American dream.
Yeah.
One of the top issues facing Americans across this country, as we know, is the economy and inflation. But according to polling throughout the country and throughout this election, voters feel that Republicans can handle those issues better than Democrats. A, why do you think that is? And B, as a Democrat, what are you going to do to change their minds?
Certainly, there's a perception that Republicans are better for the economy. If you look at the actual statistics and evidence on that, it tends not to be true. There's no doubt we've had inflationary problems. Look, we came out of a once in a century global pandemic. The entire world faced inflationary pressures. Do I wish that we'd done a better job actually tapping down on some of those costs here? Absolutely. But some of the supply chain issues we saw were things that had never happened before in modern times. So look, if you look at the numbers lately, inflation is way, way down from where it was. That doesn't mean that it's good enough. We have to do a better job of getting prices under control. But at the end of the day, look, in every election, people are talking about prices rising. It's an age-old adage that prices will rise. We need to look at which party is actually proposing solutions. West Virginia is the oldest state in the nation. We have programs like Medicare and Social Security, as well as Medicaid, where a lot of West Virginians are dependent on those programs' long-term viability. We don't see a plan coming from the Republican side to keep those programs there for long-term sustainability. Proposals like Project 2025 would actually take those programs and actually put them in jeopardy, I believe, for the long term. So if we're looking at what's best for West Virginia, we not only have to get prices down, absolutely agree with you there, but we have to make sure that a lot of these programs are going to be here for the next couple generations. And we got to get back to doing regular order. The way we do the way the federal government has been doing budgeting for the last couple years is it's embarrassing, and it's irresponsible for the world's greatest republic to actually load everything up into these big continuing resolution bills at the end of the fiscal year and actually ask everybody to vote for this big lump sum bill where most people don't even know what's in it because they couldn't read it yet. No responsible country should govern this way. And if elected to the Senate, that'd be one of my top priorities. Get us back to actually doing the budget like adults.
I'm born and raised in a neighboring state, Pennsylvania, obviously a critical state in this election. And if you tell any voter across Pennsylvania, I'm sure West Virginia too, hey, inflation's high, but it's coming down, they're going to turn to you, start laughing and say, yeah, well, my groceries are still really expensive.
Sure.
So what's your solution to say, hey, I'm going to go into the Senate and here's exactly how I'm going to fix that?
Well, there's a couple things on pricing, and one of the things about food policy we need to look at is we have too few companies in America actually making most of the food that we eat. We need a more comprehensive agriculture policy to encourage small farmers. We have a lot of farming opportunities across West Virginia. I certainly know in Pennsylvania. I've driven across Pennsylvania many times. A lot of farmland there as well, but we need to give local farmers the tools so we don't have to buy all this stuff from these few companies. And that's part of the problem is we have seen some price gouging from having such a concentrated production of food. But beyond that, you have to talk about some of the proposals out there. The former president is talking about actually imposing tariffs on a wide variety of products coming in from other countries. Economists are predicting that could cost the everyday person $4,000 a year. I know people in West Virginia can't afford $4,000 a year to buy stuff based on what they're already paying. So we have to look at the proposals across the board. I know folks are worried about inflation. I've seen the inflationary pressures over the last couple of years. Based on current numbers, though, the rate of inflation has dropped to actually back to historical norms. We just got to look at actually making sure we can produce food, which is, I think, the biggest thing people are feeling is the cost of food prices. We have to be able to produce food at a much more affordable level. And I think that starts with encouraging local farmers across this country.